Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Jaya Prabhu ki. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki. Nitai Gauda Premanandi. Hare Krishna. We'll be reading the 33rd verse of chapter 87 in the 10th canto. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vijita Rishika Vayupiradanta Manasturagam. Ya iha yatanti yantum matilolam upayakida. Vyasana shatan vitasama vahaya guroshchadanam. Vanija ita jasantya krita karna dara jalado. Vijita Rishika Vayubiradanta Manasturagam. Ya iha yatanti yantum atilolam upayakida. Vyasana shatan vitasama vahaya guroshcharanam. Vanija iva jasyantya krita karna dala jalado. Vijita Rishika Vayubiradanta Manasturagam. Ya iha yatanti yantum atilolam upayakida. Vyasana shatan vitasama vahaya guroshcharanam. Vanija iva jasyantya krita karna dara jalado.
Rishika Vayubiradanta Manasturagam. Vijita Rishika Vayubiradanta Manasturagam. Yaiha yatanti yantum atilolam upayakida. Yaiha yatanti yantum atilolam upayakida. Vyasana shatan vitasama vahaya guroshcharanam. Yasana shatan vitasama vahaya guroshcharanam. Vanija iva jasantya krita karna darajaladho. Vanija iva jasantya krita karna darajaladho.
Matajas?
Vijita Rishika Vayubi Adanta Manasturagam.
Vijita Rishika Vayubi Adanta
upayakitaha.
Yayatanti atum atilolam upayakida.
Vyasana shatan pita samabhaya guroscharanam.
Yasana shatam vitasama bahaya guroscharanam.
Vanija ivaja santi akritya karna dara jalado.
Vanija vihaya sanjakrita karna darajalado. Vajita vishita vayogi adanta manasturadam. Yayatanti atum atilolam upayakida. Yasana shatam vitasama bahaya guroscharanam. Vanija vihaya sanjakrita karna darajalado.
Vijita, conquered. Rishika, with senses. Vayubi, and vital air. Adanta, not brought under control. Mana, the mind. Turagam, which is like a horse. Ye, those who. Iha, in this world. Yatanti, endeavor. Yantum, to regulate. Ati, very. Lolam, unsteady. Upaya, by their various methods of cultivation. Kida, distressed. Vyasana, disturbance. Shata, by hundreds. Anvita, joined. Samavahaya, abandoning. Guru, of the spiritual master. Charanam, the feet. Vanija, merchants. Eva, as if. Aja, O unborn one. Santi, they are. Akrita, having not taken. Karnadara, a helmsman. Jalado, on the ocean. Translation. The mind is like an impetuous horse that even persons who have regulated their senses and breath cannot control. So the mind is like an impetuous horse that even persons who have regulated their senses and breath cannot control. Those in this world who try to tame the uncontrolled mind, but who abandon the feet of their spiritual master, encounter hundreds of obstacles in their cultivation of various distressful practices. O unborn Lord, they are like merchants on a boat in the ocean who have failed to employ a helmsman. Purport. To become qualified to attain love of Godhead, the mature fruit of liberation, one must first subdue the rebellious material mind. Though difficult, this can be achieved when a person replaces his addictions to sense gratification with a taste for the higher pleasures of spiritual life. But only by the favor of the representative of Godhead, the spiritual master, can one gain this higher taste. The spiritual master opens the eyes of the disciple to the wonder of the transcendental realm, as indicated in the Gayatri prayers by the seed mantra of divine knowledge, Aim. The Mundaka Upanishad 1-12 states, Tad vijnanartam sagurum eva bigachet, samit pani shrotriyam brahma nishtam. Quote, to understand these things properly, one must humbly approach with firewood in hand a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. Unquote. And in the Katha Upanishad 2.9, declares, Naisha tarkena matir apaneya proktan yenaiva sugyanaya preshta. Quote, this realization, my dear boy, cannot be acquired by logic. It must be spoken by an exceptionally qualified spiritual master to a knowledgeable disciple. Unquote. Non-Vaishnavas often disregard the importance of surrendering to a spiritual master who stands in an authorized line of disciplic succession. By relying instead on their own abilities. Proud yogis and jnanis exhibit their apparent success to impress the world, but their glory is but temporary. Yunjananam abhaktanam pranayama dibirmana akshina vasanam rajan drishyate punar utitam. Quote, the minds of non-devotees who engage in such practices as pranayama are not fully cleansed of material desires. Thus, O king, material desires are again seen to arise in their minds. Bhagavatam 10:51-60. On the other hand, a humble, steadfast devotee of Lord Vishnu and of the Vaishnavas is assured of easy victory over the stubborn mind. He need not concern himself with performing the eightfold system of yoga or taking other such measures to keep his mind steady. Sarvam chaitad guru bhaktya purusho hyan jasa jayet. Quote, a person can easily obtain all these goals simply by being devoted to his spiritual master. Unquote. Otherwise, a non-devotee may conquer his senses and vital air and still fail to tame his mind, which will continue to run wild like an unbroken horse. He will suffer unending anxiety over the troublesome execution of various spiritual practices, and in the end, he will remain just as lost in the vast material ocean as he ever was. The analogy given here is very appropriate. A group of merchants who hastily enter upon a sea voyage with expectations of great profit, but who fail to hire a competent helmsman for their boat, will simply experience great difficulty. The Bhagavatam declares the importance of the bona fide spiritual master in many places, such as this verse from the 11th canto, 20:17. Nrineham ajam salobam sudurlabam plavam sukarpam gurukarnadaram mayanu kulena nabas vateritam puman bhavabdim na taritsa atmaha. Quote, the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain, and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul." Unquote. Therefore, the first business of one who takes human life seriously is to find out a spiritual master who can guide him in Krishna consciousness. Srila Sridhar Swami prays, "Yada pranananda guru bhavat pade Shri Shri Radha Gopi Chandra ki jai, Gopinath ki jai, Krishna Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai." Thank you. Yada parananda guru bhavat pade padamano me bhagavala beta tada nirasta kila sadhana shama shrayeya saukyam bhavata kripata. O transcendently blissful Guru, when my mind finally achieves a place at your lotus feet, all the tiresome labor of my spiritual practices will be finished, and by your mercy I will experience the greatest happiness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, there's three main topics or themes here. The spiritual master, the higher taste, and controlling the mind. But really, there's only one topic I was thinking, the higher taste. How do you get the higher taste? Yeah. Because it is said in the purport, in the first part of the purport, that only by getting a higher taste can one actually give up the addictions of material sense gratification. All right? In the Nectar of Instruction, in the first verse, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the only way you can control the mind is by fixing it at the lotus feet of Krishna. So one has to be transcendently situated, Srila Prabhupada says. Then you can control the mind. If you battle it out with the mind, you will lose. The mind will win. As Bhakti Charu Maharaj said, if you have a boxing match with two boxers in the ring, and they're ready to fight, or they're fighting, and one of them gives up, then the fight is over. Then the fight is finished. So if we try to fight Maya, if we try to fight the mind and control the mind, we're going to lose. Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he complains to Krishna, but Krishna, the mind is more difficult to control than the wind. Can you imagine controlling the wind? Today the wind is blowing in the wrong direction. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to try to blow in the other direction. My washing is on the other side. I need it to blow that way. It's not possible. And the mind is even more difficult to control than the wind. So we can't control the mind, basically. But Krishna says that you can control the mind by suitable practice and detachment. And here it's in Nectar of Instruction, Krishna says, when Prabhupada says you must fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. And here it's said that we can only control the mind if we get the higher taste. That's starting to make a lot of sense. If you have a higher taste, you won't want to engage in any material things. If I have 10 euros and someone else comes with a 50 euro note and says, hey, can we swap? I'll be like, yeah, let's do it. If I have 50 euros, someone else comes with a 10 euro and says, hey, let's swap. I won't do it. So it's a very simple principle that if we have the higher taste, then we'll give up the lower taste. And I think we've all experienced that. Otherwise we wouldn't be here, right? It was very easy for us to give up intoxication, meat eating, illicit sex, gambling. Somehow it was very easy. When we actually wanted to, and we reached that point that we wanted to do it, right? Then we did it, because at that point we already had a higher taste. For me it was kind of like that. Like I started chanting, I started doing different things, and I was still engaged in some of the old habits. And then I realized that the habits were getting in the way. You know, I was trying to chant, but I was dropping my beads because I was too otherwise involved in my mind, intoxicated. So then I was dropping my beads, and I realized, oh no, this is not good. This is getting in the way now of the chanting. So then I easily gave it up at that point, by Krishna's mercy, because there was some higher taste. Now, how did that happen? So we need to reproduce that in our lives on a daily basis, kind of on a moment-to-moment basis, right? So we gave up meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and now we're continuing to go deeper and deeper, right? So the process is continuing. The same principle is continuing in a more fine-tuned way. Yeah. So we have to remain fixed at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. What does that mean? What do the lotus feet mean? Well, the lotus feet are the lotus feet, in one sense. You can get dust from the lotus feet, very important, of the spiritual master, and you can get water that's washed the feet of the spiritual master, very important, two very important substances. So if you ever have the opportunity, go there and get that. And generally the water that's washed the feet is a little tricky. If you see the shoes outside of the spiritual master, you may get some dust. But the water is a bit more tricky. So you have to keep your ears and eyes open. Generally, if there's a house program, if somebody invites the guru to their home, there's a chance that they will wash his feet. Attach yourself to that program. Get that lift, somehow go there. Get that water. But the lotus feet also means the instructions of the spiritual master. There's two forms of the guru, the vapu form, the physical form, and the vani form. And the vani form is more important in a sense because the vani form is always available. We can always associate with the spiritual master through the vani form by following his instructions. And in that way we can associate with the spiritual master by following his instructions. And we can see this in action. We can see this in the disciples of Srila Prabhupada that have continued to develop their relationship with Srila Prabhupada so much after his departure. And it's become stronger and stronger and stronger, and they're surrendering more and more and more. They're getting more and more taste in Krishna consciousness. And we can see this in ourselves that have never met Srila Prabhupada physically, but we've gotten the association of his instructions, and we followed his instructions. And when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we're associating with Srila Prabhupada. We're actually associating with Srila Prabhupada's personal ecstasies. So it's a very intimate association with Srila Prabhupada. So the instructions, what are the instructions of the Guru? If we say we have to follow the instructions, we have to maintain at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, we have to maintain our association with the instructions. What are the instructions? So we have some general instructions. We may be fortunate we may have some specific instructions. But if we look at it in a general way, what is the general instruction? Chant 16 rounds, Tick. We're doing that. Okay? Following the 4 regulative principles. Tick. We're doing that. So, what's the next level? Next level would be chant 16 rounds without offenses. That's a higher level to strive for. When I got initiated, I was put on the spot. I was a little bit tricked by my spiritual master. He asked me, the 4 regulative principles, and then he said, "And how many rounds will you chant without offenses every day?" I said, 16. I had to say 16. So I'm still striving for that. But this is actually the intention for everybody. At the initiation, there's always the mention of the 10 offenses. At every initiation that Srila Prabhupada gave, as far as I know. And even now, it's a practice that the 10 offenses are mentioned at initiation. So here's the mantra, here you go, you've been initiated into the mantra, here are the 10 offenses that you need to avoid. So if we know it's good to be aware of the 10 offenses, and some temples we recite them every day. I think in most temples we recite them every day. But if we had to switch it around and look at the positives, not only the do-nots, but the do's, what does it mean? How do we not commit the 10 offenses? And when we unpack that and look at it in detail, it's like a full-time thing, actually. There's a lot in those 10 offenses. So if we look at all the do's, that's a lot of instruction there. There's a lot to do. So let's run through that a bit. So number 1, to serve and glorify the devotees. That's what we do in order to not commit the first offense. And that's pretty broad. That's like the whole day's activities. Glorify the devotees, serve the devotees. Everything we do is service to the devotees in a sense. We're not serving Krishna directly in a sense. In one sense, Krishna only knows Radharani. She's the dearmost, highest devotee, and he's completely absorbed in Radharani in a sense. And all of us are serving the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant ad infinitum of Srimati Radharani, right? So serving the devotees. So if we become absorbed in that, then our spiritual master will be very pleased. Number 2, to adore Lord Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, controller and friend, and view the demigods as great devotees of the Lord. Number 3, to carry out the orders of the spiritual master with enthusiasm and attention to detail. So in this context that we are discussing it, that would be some specific order that the spiritual master gave you. So if you can see your spiritual master is getting older, his health is getting worse, which is the case with all spiritual masters, unfortunately, right now, practically speaking, then you might approach them and say, Gurudev, is there any specific instruction that you can give me? It might surprise you. He might see some qualities in you that he wants to bring out more, and he can see that you'd be good at a certain service, and he might tell you to do a certain service, a particular service. Or you might have an instruction just from his classes, something that stood out to you. For example, my Guru Maharaj says, Krishna consciousness starts from the vertical platform. We begin the day in the horizontal platform. In the horizontal platform means we're sleeping. So you have to get up, and you have to get up early, so you can start Krishna consciousness. So these are some of the little details you might pick up on from your spiritual master. Number 4, honor and study the scriptures as the instructions of the Supreme Lord. And here we could say part of honoring the scripture is to also distribute the scripture. Right? Give others to spread the word. If the word is valuable and we're honoring the word, spread it, give others an opportunity. I don't think there's anyone that appreciates the scriptures more than the book distributors. The book distributors have very intimate connection with Srila Prabhupada's books. So they're honoring very much. So from that we could say part of not committing any of the 10 offenses is distributing books, or at least preaching, giving out the knowledge, honoring that knowledge, right? That'll keep you busy. That's a big instruction. Number 5. Having faith in the descriptions about the glories of the holy name. And if you can't understand something about the glories of the holy name, be humble and say, well, I can't understand it. Doesn't mean it's not true. We have to, I had to do that obviously very early on in Krishna consciousness. There was many things I didn't understand. So I was like, okay, this is over my head, this knowledge, but it might be true. I can't say. As Srila Prabhupada would say if people challenged that Krishna is not God. And he would say, okay, show me, who is God then? If you say Krishna isn't God, then who is God? I'm saying Krishna is God. The scriptures are saying Krishna is God. You're saying no. Then what's your alternative? And then people would be stumped because they don't know who God is. God is a generic term, like man or woman, it's generic. Everybody has their own name, so then Krishna is one name of God. So I'm saying Krishna is God. If you think someone else is, then tell me. So be humble, have faith in the descriptions about the glories of the holy name. Number 6, accept and appreciate the descriptions of the holy name given by the acharyas. Be humble and follow in the line of the cyclic succession. Don't give your own interpretation on the holy name. Again, humility, accepting the acharyas, following in the footsteps. Number 7, if you're going to commit sinful activities, accept responsibility for it. This is my own kind of interpretation. Don't commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. So like if there's some weakness, you're doing some nonsense, don't try and chant and sort of get rid of that sinful reaction. That would be an offense, right? So be honest, be humble. But ideally don't commit sinful activities. Follow the regulative principles. Right? So number 7 is, follow the regulative principles. And arrange your life in such a way that you don't get distracted and disturbed. Act for Krishna's pleasure. Number 8, act for Krishna's pleasure. Right? So this is an instruction of the spiritual master, as given in the instruction, don't commit any of the 10 offenses. We should act for Krishna's pleasure, as given in the definition of pure devotional service. Aniyabhilasita sunyam. We should act for Krishna's pleasure, serve him as he desires, without any motives. Number 9, discuss the glories of the holy name amongst the devotees who relish them. Right? So we shouldn't preach to the faithless. So preach to we'll discuss amongst the devotees. That'll satisfy your need to talk about Vraj Leela. Then when you meet somebody, you're not going to burst out Mother Yashoda's intimate attitudes towards Krishna in the Damodar Leela. That would be inappropriate. So engage in those activities. My spiritual master said, we should practice during prasadam. We should practice speaking about Krishna. Start a Krishna conscious conversation during prasadam. Sometimes we sit down and various things are discussed, and that's great, and we also want to talk with the devotees about various things. But sometimes we should try to just start a conversation about Krishna. Oh, I read something about Narada Muni, something like that. And then there was one devotee in the temple in Durban, he used to do that regularly. And there was another devotee who would sort of make fun of him. He'd be like, oh, quickly someone sing Jai Radha Madhava. He's giving class again during prasadam, But this was such a nectarian devotee. He would always speak about Krishna. So there's it was like an old brahmachari, he was like a joker. He'd say, oh, quickly someone sing Jai Radha Madhava. Govinda Charan, Lakshminath. Mm-hmm. And then number 10, chant attentively, absorbing heart and mind in the holy name, and become steadily more detached from materialism. So this is, connected with the instruction of Krishna consciousness starts from the vertical platform. You get up early and you chant in the best time of the day, and you work towards that. That becomes an important thing in your life, and you mold your life in such a way that that's possible. And we're all working on these things, we're all working on these things, but it's important to understand that actually doing those, working on those things and making an effort in those things, then we're associating with our spiritual master in this Vani form, And I think those devotees whose spiritual master has passed away, they have a special opportunity I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not looking forward to that test, to that opportunity. But the fact remains, it is a special opportunity to be fully dependent on the Vani form of the spiritual master. And in that way focus on the instructions and remember the instructions all the time. We have that opportunity now. I haven't seen my spiritual master for 2 years. We're always serving in separation, actually. But because he's still around, I'm kind of hoping and waiting when I can see him again. And to me, that's the association of the spiritual master, when I see him, when I'm with him. And obviously that's special. But when the spiritual master has passed away, and then we're solely dependent on that, and then hopefully in all these little ways, like just getting up early and chanting with attention, becomes a source of inspiration, becomes a type of association with the spiritual master for us. But we need to remember that. We need to remember that it's actually his instruction. So if we do that, we can get a higher taste. And I remember one time I asked my spiritual master, you have all these motivational speakers, very popular nowadays, and you have to think positively and you have to visualize things, and then when you visualize it and you feel that you've already got it, then you'll get it, or you'll attract it, or something to that effect. So I asked my spiritual master, should I chant with that attitude, like I've already got it, I've already got the taste somehow, and have this special enthusiasm, kind of artificially generated. So he said, no, don't do that. The taste can come quite easily, actually, if you just listen to the holy name when you chant. Simply listen while you're chanting, and the taste will come. He said, you don't have to worry about doing something special, something unique and strange. And this is our experience. When we actually do it, when we actually listen, when we're chanting, the taste is very available. I wish I did it more often. I wish I just actually listened when I chanted. And it's just so difficult. Although the process is so simple. Lord Chaitanya has given us the process of Harinam Sankirtan. Use your senses to focus on Krishna. Listen to the holy name. You can't think about something else when you're listening. It's perfectly designed that for maximum absorption. Just listen and you will be in Krishna's association. Kali Kali Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar Nama Haite Haya Sarva Jagat Nishtar. The Lord has appeared in the form of His holy name in Kali Yuga. Anyone who chants His holy name associates with Him directly and is certainly delivered. That's all we need to do, just associate with Krishna through the holy name. He says you can control the mind when you place it at the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna is His holy name. Listen to the holy name. So, as I said, I wish I did it more. I wish I really wanted to do it. I get distracted. I want various things. I want many things. and this is why and Krishna arranges our suffering as devotees, as aspiring devotees. Krishna takes our karma and He gives us little bits of it just to give us a kick in the butt. And so we realize, I don't like it here actually. It isn't nice. And then again and again we can try and try and try. And when we actually do it, the result is right there. The taste is right there. In the process. The result is part of the process. It's the process and it's the goal at the same time. Immediately you can achieve the goal. Srila Prabhupada said, you can immediately be Krishna conscious. There's that nice pastime of Maharaj Khatvanga. He was asked by the demigods to help them fight a battle in the celestial planets. Maharaj Khatvanga was such a great warrior that the demigods sought him out. So Maharaj Khatvanga went up to the heavenly planets, he defeated some of the celestial demons, he came back down, and the demigods asked him, what benediction would you like? And Maharaj Khatvanga said, I would like to know when I'm going to die. Out of everything, first on my list would be $1 billion. But he asked, when will I die? Very important information. The demigods huddled up, they got together, they looked up at him as they were discussing. They were very concerned. And they turned to him and said, Maharaj Khatvanga, the answer to your question is, you're going to die now. So he immediately fixed his mind on Krishna, perfected his life and left his body. Haribo! So it's possible in a moment from that pastime. Srila Prabhupada also said you can immediately be Krishna conscious. And we know from our experience that if we actually listen to the holy name, then we can immediately get that higher taste. So, I mean, it's interesting, there's different stages. So it's from faith, Shraddha, a little faith that this process might work. We've kind of gone through that. Then we have sadhu sangha, we associate with devotees, we've done that. Then we get through to doing unsteady devotional service, bhajana kriya, and then we get to anartha nivritti. There's a big stage, that's a long stage. And then, then comes ruchi, then comes nishtha, right, being actually steady, and then comes ruchi. So when we talk about the higher taste, we could say, I'm not qualified to get the higher taste. I'm not on that level. I can't get the higher taste. I'm not on that level. I'm not even nishtha, what to speak of ruchi, where the higher taste is. But at the same time, we've all had experience of the higher taste. If not during japa, some fired up kirtan, after 2 hours of Madhava's kirtan, when it gets there, it's ecstatic. There's a higher taste there. Oh, I need to stop. And then so we've had that experience. How does that work? But that's a whole nother seminar. But anyway, in summary, you by Krishna's mercy, you can experience the higher stage even while you're on a lower stage, but temporarily, for a very short amount of time. And it's so amazing that it keeps us going for like a month. Ooh, that was so nice. I've got to get back there somehow. And when you have it, you think, oh, this is so great. Maybe I'll get some name and fame because now I'm so like ecstatic. Maybe someone noticed, and immediately it's gone. That's how fleeting it is. But by Krishna's mercy, you get some thing that you don't even deserve, and you can't deserve mercy. Mercy is always causeless. So yes, thank you for your attention. Sorry I went over time. If there's any comments, please help us to understand better.
Well, I just remember an experience in Sweden when I was living in the temple in Korsnäs, and I was having a boss who I struggled a little bit with, I must say. I struggled with my boss. And I had just been home to see if my kids were okay, and I went back to the temple, and there was a kirtan going on, and he was leading it. And my first thought was, oh, I'll back out. But then I didn't, and I went in, and it was the most incredible experience. I felt I wasn't touching the ground. I was flying, and devotees afterwards said I didn't seem to touch the ground. It was just so wonderful. So that was an incredibly higher taste in that kirtan. And at the same time, also probably a little bit earlier, it was Janmashtami, and we had to do some work on the altar. And I was having, my baby was there at the time, so I never had a night without breastfeeding every so often. So I was asked to come and start cleaning the altar, and I said, I can't have my baby. You have to come, we need you. So anyway, my husband was then looking after the baby, and I came in, and all my tiredness disappeared completely. Wow. And I was just incredibly happy. Wow. So I can relate to what you say about the higher taste in kirtan. That's a lot easier than in japa. Chanting with other devotees and just getting into it. That's bliss.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anybody else? If you have questions, ask with confidence. We have many astute scholars and senior devotees here. They can answer your questions.
Thank you, Prabhu. I just wanted to ask if I've heard many positive translations of the 10 offenses, but I really like the one you shared. So if you could share it, and maybe if devotees want, I can put it on the Radhedesh village forum. Devotees
Sure.
then receive whatever we send on the forum. And I just read something in the purport again. So I would just like, maybe you can share something more on this. Okay, I need to find it. Oh, there it is. On the other hand, a humble, steadfast devotee of Lord Vishnu and of the Vaishnavas is assured of easy victory over the stubborn mind. So you spoke on this point, and it seems two qualifications in relation to two services. So one is humility, and one is being fixed. And towards who? Towards Vishnu, Krishna and his devotees. So it seems indeed very easy, but to actually be humble and to be fixed up, at least for myself, and I guess many others could share the same, is not that easy. So although it mentions easy victory, it seems that to even just do that is quite difficult.
Yeah, it's a struggle, it's a divine struggle. There was one nice story. Prabhupada was with the devotees and he was reading a letter. And in the letter, the devotee, and he was reading the letter aloud, and the crowd was, the group of devotees was there. And in the letter, this devotee was describing how he was struggling with smoking. I give up smoking, then I start smoking again. He's telling Prabhupada in the letter. Then I know I need to stop, then I stop smoking, but I start again. And the devotee sitting who was telling the story, who then told the story to my Guru Maharaj, he was thinking to himself, what a nonsense, he's struggling with smoking, like, come on. And you're meant to be on a higher level here, and he was feeling a bit judgmental towards this person who wrote the letter. And at the end of the letter, Srila Prabhupada said, this is such a great soul, he's struggling for Krishna. So it's a struggle, and we see it that I'm not doing well, I'm struggling in so many ways, I should be on a high level, and so on and so forth. But we shouldn't be discouraged. We should continue trying, just like chanting, the mind goes, we're supposed to bring the mind back. The mind goes somewhere, bring it back. If we actually keep doing that, after some time the mind stays. It becomes a little easier. We might actually finish a mantra without the mind wandering. And so it seems like we're so far away, but actually we are where we can be. We can't be anywhere else right now. So we have these and these attachments. We have this. We're on a certain level in our Krishna consciousness. But with the struggle, we might struggle our whole lives, but at the end maybe we'll suffer on our deathbed and we'll just get completely purified and go back to Godhead. It can happen in so many different ways. We might struggle for some time and then break through and reach Nishta and different stages. But it's a divine struggle, and it's what's supposed to be happening right now. It's nothing wrong with what's happening right now. You are trying to be humble, you're trying to be steadfast. The fact that you can't do it completely right now, there's nothing wrong with that. You are where you are. You are where you're supposed to be right now. And you just keep trying. You just never give up. The success formula is 1% talent, 1% luck, 98% refusing to give up. Just keep going. Just keep trying. I heard this is one of these memes, but my Guru Maharaj said he liked it. So I also put it on my fridge. And so that's the kind of the formula. Just understand that you need help. Pray for that help, and you will continue to make progress. You've made so much progress. You're just going to continue, and you're going to get there by Krishna's mercy. I have faith in you.
That's just beautiful.
Thank you, Master.
I just wanted to share. I heard one Maharaj also say that actually what we are doing now, we are like preparing the land, the soil, because any time the rain may come, but if the soil is not prepared, we didn't put the seed, we didn't, I don't know how to say in English. So we need to prepare the land because mercy of the Guru may come any moment. So we are actually waiting for that to come. We cannot do it by ourselves, but the mercy will come one day.
Jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I thought was a really nice class. Thank you. But one point that I thought the guru was mentioned quite a lot, and that's a large topic. But it's so important for us as Vaishnavas to acknowledge that guru isn't always Diksha guru, because not everyone had the fortune to serve the guru for years and travel with him like you did. But majority of our lives in Krishna consciousness is with Shiksha gurus. And I know we've been talking about that, so maybe you can comment just a little bit more on that.
Yeah, there's so many different types of Shiksha gurus. And we have our Diksha Guru, who's usually also our Shiksha Guru, but we have other devotees in the community even that inspire us, that lead by example. And there's a famous saying that if you're the most intelligent person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And so in the devotees, in the community of devotees that we have with us, we can have Shiksha Gurus also. But there's so many devotees that we can see as exemplary to us. So what to speak of our Diksha Guru, who's our Shiksha Guru, who's traveling around, and other Shiksha Gurus that are also traveling around that we may not see the whole time. There's actually devotees in our community that we can see as Shiksha Gurus, you know. And that's very important. We say the prayer, Vanchakalpa Trubhyas Cha, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, I offer my obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees and can fulfill the desires of everyone. So the devotee, the humble devotee, always sees others as having, he finds a way to respect others. He finds something to respect. Oh, you're senior to me in this way. You're more advanced. You serve with a greater service attitude than me. You're senior in age to me. Maybe you don't know the person at all. You see them, okay, you're senior in age to me. I respect you. You know, there's some way that you can give that respect that you would give to a guru, that you give to all the Vaishnavas. All the Vaishnavas we can see in some way to be our Shiksha gurus. So it's always very close to home. I think it's important that we in this mentality that we always have a Shiksha guru that we can surrender to and depend on in some way and serve in some way, you know. So that's so much on that point that I was thinking about. Hope that's okay. Jai. I think we should end because time is kind of up and prasadam is waiting. We don't want to keep Krishna waiting in the form of prasadam. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.